President Akufo-Addo addresses the nation on COVID-19 and Ghana's latest arrangement with the IMF. Kumasi Technical Institute to install CCTV cameras on campus in a bid to improve security following growing misconduct among students.
Try to cite the CCTV cameras. I think that will also help us, so that at the end of the day, when you are caught probably scaling the wall, then we may know that yes, this thing.
Pupils at the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind cry for more teachers as educators in the sector appear to be in short supply.
We are appealing to our education directorates to consider posting another special educator to augment the efforts of the current.
And later on CNR Extra, CCTV gets results. Inmates at Kuko Witches Camp get borehole after City News' report on their age-old struggles to access water.
We're also thinking about how to extend the water to the other parts of town. You know, there are empty places now, which we think if we are allowed, we can use them so that the entire village will be.
Once again, you're welcome to CNR Extra here on City TV. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 020-444-7033. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You can join us there on CityTube. Jude Mensa Duncan, you're welcome to the show. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing
looking
very
sharp.
Well. Oh, thank you, Philip.
I mean, the weekend went well.
I mean, I can't complain. It's been an exciting and restful weekend. So we are back again, hopefully. This week is also looks very promising, so we hope that the good Lord will continue to watch over us.
From today to Wednesday, we are going to kick May away, and we're going to get into June. That is going to be the second half of the year.
I mean, May is my birth month, and they say number 5 stands for grace. So I think God has been good this month. We hope that June also comes with its own blessings.
Great. Let's start with the address by the president of the country, Nana Akufo-Addo, on COVID-19 and the deal with the IMF. Let's bring you that insight.
We start with an address to the nation by the President Nana Akufo-Addo on COVID-19 and the IMF program.
That COVID was no longer a public health emergency of global concern. It had taken 3 years, 5 months, and 20 days of unbelievable tumult, unrelenting pain and suffering, and emotional turbulence of a world turned upside down. But we have at last heard the words for which we had all been praying. The scientists and health experts tell us that we no longer have a public health emergency of international concern. They tell us also that there's evidence of reducing risks to human health from COVID-19 infections. This has led to the decreasing trend of COVID-19 related deaths, hospitalizations, and intensive care admissions. The world has also achieved the long hoped for immunity, and with improved clinical management, the experts say it is time to transition to long-term management of the COVID-19 pandemic. In other words, we can now breathe that collective sigh of relief. For even though we may still have to deal with sporadic, isolated outbreaks, the crisis itself has technically ended. The pandemic trend in Ghana is similar to the general global trend as announced by WHO. As of 15th May 2023, there have been 1,462 deaths attributable to COVID-19 in Ghana, with the last death being recorded on 8th January 2023. These are not mere figures or inconvenient statistics. They are dearly loved parents, sons and daughters, relations, friends and colleagues, whom we shall continue to miss dearly. May their souls rest in perfect peace. I'm glad to report that currently we do not have any critical or severe cases. In general, since the first case was confirmed in our country on 12 March 2020, there have been 171,738 positive cases from 2,538,198 tests. You would recall that we started the COVID vaccination campaign in March 2021, and as at 25th May 2023, 25,170,382 vaccine doses have been administered. There are 10,566,420 fully vaccinated people. That is 52.7% out of the 20 million target we had set, with 4,599,883 persons having received booster doses. In the light of these facts, the COVID-19 task force, which I chair, met on 17th May and took some far-reaching decisions on the measures we have put in place for the management of the pandemic, which were announced by the Ghana Health Service on 19th May. The most important of these decisions was that the COVID-19 pandemic was over. All the outstanding COVID-induced restrictions at our airports, pre-COVID situation as far as health entry requirements are concerned. It will be recalled that 3 years ago, we started with drastic measures and restrictions. The international airport was shut for months, and our land borders were closed to human traffic for almost 3 years. The hospitality industry was devastated. Hotels and restaurants and other social gathering places were shut down. Schools and universities and training institutions were shut down. Indeed, our world was turned upside down. That culturally defining Ghanaians to hug our children and our loved ones. Churches, mosques, and other places of worship were closed for months, and our beaches remained emptied of human activity. Fellow Ghanaians, even our funerals, that sacred Ghanaian ritual, were stopped, and then attempts were made to change the tone and character of the funeral with the imposition of restrictions on how many can attend or be fed at the ceremony. Fellow Ghanaians, throughout these trying times, I kept urging all of you to believe that this too shall pass. Dare I say that this too has passed. The emergency is over, and we can safely lift many of the oppressive restrictions we've had to endure. We can shake hands, we can hug, we can visit, and we no longer have to wear masks. But it is strongly recommended that we keep some of the measures imposed during the crisis and integrate them into our everyday lives, because they have served us well and will continue to serve us well. I urge you all to continue with the regular hand washing and other personal hygiene measures, so they become entrenched national habits. There has been a dramatic decrease in diarrhea diseases, and we have not had any cholera outbreaks these past 3 years. These developments are attributable mostly to the hand washing and improved hygiene regimen in our communities. It does not hurt to wear a mask if you have a cold, for example. It might protect those around you. If you are uncomfortable in a crowded and enclosed space, go out into the open and continue the new ways we have devised for outside entertainment. I hope there will be no argument that infection and fumigation. Never again should our markets be breeding grounds for rodents. There are other ways in which this nightmare has brought some good dividends that must be acknowledged. It has led to the strengthening of our disease surveillance system, and this has been manifested in recent months by our ability to deal in a very rapid and aggressive way with outbreaks of frightening diseases like Marburg, Lassa fever, monkeypox, before they could turn into serious public health catastrophes. The pandemic also exposed some of the painful deficiencies we have and forced us to take some brave and necessary decisions, like the expansion of our network of health facilities under Agenda 111. I doubt very much that but for the pandemic, the network of health laboratories with capacity to do PCR testing in our country would have expanded exponentially from the initial 2 to 67 laboratories nationwide. And fellow Ghanaians, we have begun the process of manufacturing our own vaccines with the establishment of the National Vaccine Institute. The painful lesson from the pandemic about the access to vaccines certainly concentrated our minds. And we must be proud that we did not bow our heads in defeat, but used the crisis to achieve such a positive outcome. We now have in place a vaccine institute and 2 vaccine manufacturing plants. I commissioned that of Atlantic Life Sciences Limited last year, and a few weeks ago, I performed the salt-cutting ceremony of that of DEK Vaccines Limited. There's no question but that Ghana came out of this global catastrophe much better than many other countries, if we consider the rate of infection, hospitalization, and death. We must recognize that this happened because we worked at it in a focused and competent manner. We refused to be swayed by the populist noises, conspiracy theory peddlers, false and uninformed analysts, but rather we relied firmly on the science and data-driven information for guidance. Contrary to what some which reaches every corner of our country with highly competent and dedicated health workers, a public health system of which we can be justly proud. When it was most needed, the private sector rose to the occasion and displayed innovation and dynamism. We managed a strong community engagement and communication strategy which carried the entire population along and was admired and praised by Ghanaians and the outside world. Among ministries, departments, and agencies, there was strong and palpable multi-sector collaboration. It also certainly helped that we found the resources from the government, partners, individuals, corporate entities, and the public to support health workers and procurement of required materials. Fighting COVID has been a very expensive undertaking, characterized as it was by lockdowns, closed borders, minimal economic activity, and the consequential steep decline in revenues. The testing for the millions who went to public laboratories, the quarantine of arrivals from outside the country, hospital admissions, treatments and feeding for all patients were publicly funded and cost vast sums of money. The vaccination program was expensive, very expensive. Even though we received some donated vaccines, we purchased a lot with our own resources. And the multiple countrywide vaccination campaigns cost a lot of money. The fumigation, cleansing, and disinfection of markets, schools, offices, and other public spaces also cost a lot of money. Free water was provided, and the cost of electricity subsidized. 54,000 additional health workers were hired, and all health workers obtained a tax rebate. Fellow Ghanaians, keeping us all informed about this most unpredictable virus was expensive. A lot of money was spent on public education, public information, risk communication, public and community engagements, and keeping us all abreast with the relevant information. We must thank the Ministry of Information and its agencies and the National Commission for Civic Education for their exceptional work, and to the many who advised me publicly and privately, supported and prayed for me. I say thank you. The emergency is over. Unfortunately, the consequences are very much still with us, especially in terms of the economic devastation it has left in its trail. It will be recalled that I said right at the onset of the pandemic that we would do whatever it took to protect the lives of the Ghanaian people. In the now often quoted statement, I said, and I quote, "We know what to do to bring the economy back to life. But what we do not know is how to bring people back to life," unquote. The clear implication is that we will protect lives even if it was at the risk of harming the economy. I knew that the pandemic and the measures we were taking to keep us alive would have a devastating effect on the economy. But I believe I had the support of the Ghanaian people to concentrate on protecting lives at any cost. But I do not think anyone, anywhere, imagined the effect would be so widespread, so destructive, and so deep. I owe to you, my compatriots, and to myself, to go to any length to bring the economy to the rude health it was in before the onset of the pandemic. When things came to the state, where I concluded we had to go to the International Monetary Fund to access a facility for budgetary support, I gave a directive to the Minister of Finance to start the process. It was a painful decision for me to take, because going to the IMF was not part of the economic transformation agenda I'd been pursuing, especially as my government had gone the extra mile to bring to a successful end the IMF program we inherited from the previous government. But who would have imagined that President Akufo-Addo would order the closure of airports, offices, factories, or schools? We were in extraordinary times, and we took extraordinary measures. And when faced with the realities of the economic crisis last year, I accepted the challenge that the economy required a similar attitude, including the sacrifices many of us have made in recent times. Luckily, the International Monetary Fund has been most supportive And we have ended up with having our program approved in record time, culminating in the formal approval by the IMF board on 17th May. As I'm sure we have all heard by now, the details of the program have been explained by officials of the fund and by our Minister for Finance and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana. The first tranche of $600 million United States dollars has been credited to our national account out of the $3 billion United States dollars that we have negotiated to receive within a period of 36 months. Fellow Ghanaians, access to the IMF facility will not spell the immediate end of the difficulties we are in presently. But the fact that we've been able to negotiate such a deal sends a positive message to our trading partners, creditors, and investors. A positive message that will be underpinned by the discipline, hard work, and enterprise with which we execute the program. It should lead to the restoration of confidence and the reopening of avenues that have been closed to us this past year and a half. It should also lead to the resumption of many of the infrastructural projects that have stalled. Fellow Ghanaians, we got ourselves out of a pandemic in which there were no precedents on which to rely, and where even the experts admitted they had no clear-cut solutions. We did it by being resolute, being focused, and working very hard, and by accepting that we had to stick together. With a similar frame of mind and attitude, we shall overcome the economic difficulties as well, sooner rather than later. I have no doubts at all in my mind that we are on the right path, and we will soon start to see significant improvements in the economy and in the living standards of Ghanaians. Emiadum, cover yare no to share yan so no. Na di ohaw bebre yan no. Emiadaroma yetumi tu nase. Mesra mo moma ye nyina enda nyame ase. Yen koso enhwe yan ho so yi. Anyeme nyumodromo na COVID hela ni bawono. Ni ka hawo ba nyuma ejowo wonya wo faneshi wo ha ofe woda nyumoshi ni wokwe wo hino ojugba. We are a God-fearing and a God-loving nation. And that is why throughout my presidency, I have consistently stressed that the battle is the Lord's. Thus, 3 years ago, when the pandemic first hit us, I asked for a national day of prayer and fasting for God's help to be observed on 25th March 2020. Now that the Lord has heard our prayers and seen us through this COVID trial, I would respectfully ask that next Friday, i.e. the 2nd of June, all Muslims should say a special prayer of gratitude for our nation's health. And that next Saturday and Sunday, i.e. the 3rd and 4th of June, all Christians should do the same. Fellow Ghanaians, we shall overcome our present economic difficulties. The battle is indeed the Lord's. Good night, and may God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. I thank you.
Rightly so the president noted that as the country has been able to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic, so will the country overcome the economic challenges. But the highlight in this speech that lasted for 30 minutes last night had a lot of things in there on the COVID-19 expenditure, on the IMF deal. People thinking that that is going to be the beginning of the change of our economic woes. But the president says that the facility will not spell the immediate end of the difficulties we are in presently, but the fact that we have been able to negotiate such a deal sends a positive message to our trading partners, creditors and investors, a positive message that will be underpinned by the discipline, hard work, enterprise with which we execute the program. But what were the highlights, or what you picked up in this particular speech? Is it something that has really come to encourage a lot of Ghanaians looking at what we are really facing now concerning our economic woes, and being able to secure the IMF deal? Now we have some $600 million in the accounts of Ghana to address the economic challenges.
I mean, it was quite unexpected. I mean, a lot of people didn't even know the president was addressing the nation at the time he did on Sunday, if you are being honest. But it was welcoming nonetheless. My three takeaways from this was that, number one, so government decided to maintain the COVID-19 health recovery levy, which some people and MPs have disagreed with and even threatened to fight it in Parliament. So that's the first one, the maintenance of the COVID-19 health recovery levy. Number two is the admonition to Ghanaians that the coming of the IMF money will not in any way bring an immediate end to the problems that has bedeviled our economy right now. So that's also another highlight or key takeaway for me. And the third one, of course, has got to do with when he talks about the painful decision it was for governments to go to the IMF. And to start with the very last one, that's government decision to go to the IMF. I mean, you quite recall our finance minister during his, at the time, regional tour, trying to galvanize support for the e-levy.
Yes, and he made mention of we not going for
exactly,
the IMF,
because we are a proud nation. God's hands and blessings are on us. I mean, all of those flowery words he was using at the time. And you see, even at the time, we could go back to video clips of people like Joe Jackson, people like Professor Bobkin, renowned economists and industry players, talking to government about the need to check how our numbers are not adding up, really. Even MPs, people like Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa, consistently accuse government of mixing or fixing the numbers that they came to say on the economy in Parliament. And you had said that, see, this government size was just too large to make anything work in the country. So, I mean, when the president says it's a painful decision to go to the IMF, I'm of the view that the signs were clear. Government just didn't pay heed to it. Now we are talking about free SHS and how
it has to be reviewed.
It has to be
IMF
reviewed.
Says that it was poorly targeted.
Exactly, and has to be targeted. And you see, nothing is going to happen until the IMF has to step in again. So for me, when the president says it was a painful decision to go to the IMF, that's true. But I would say, as a journalist, that the signs were clearly on the wall and government just didn't pay heed to it. And now you talk about the COVID-19 recovery levy, which is also another key takeaway for me. 1%. I mean, it looks small on paper, right? Except that you have to pay it, then you feel the pinch of it. Today we are talking about how some products like sanitary pads, for instance, should be scrapped, I mean the taxes. I'm of the view that it was a this or that when government was pitching the IMF and the e-levy. So I mean, the rhetoric at the time was that if you give us or allow the e-levy to pass, we wouldn't have to go to the IMF. Now we've gone to the IMF and the e-levy is still there. So I think one will have to give, right? And with the introduction of the three new taxes, the excise amendment, the income amendment, and the growth and sustainability, I feel like we now have to have a conversation about the relevance of the COVID-19 health recovery levy. Because at the time, when it was passed somewhere March 2021, we understood it was necessary to fund our COVID-19 expenditure. Now, the World Health Organization, as of May 5th this year, told us that it is no longer a global health or public health concern. So for me, I'm struggling to understand, especially after the passing of these new three taxes, where the COVID-19 health recovery levy fits. So, I mean, these are my preliminary observations, but that notwithstanding, I think the president spoke as a leader of a nation, really trying to unify the country and trying to take our mind back to how gloomy a situation it was. I mean, you quite recall, I was on duty with you during the COVID period, during the lockdown period, when there was almost no end in sight. And from then till now, I mean, we can say that God has been good to us as a country, as a people, and of course, the ingenuity of individuals too. Not too long ago, some of those individuals were honored.
Honored by
yes, so I think we've come far as a people, we've come far as a nation, but also there are other things you have to deal with. Number one, having to do with going back to the Auditor General's report on COVID-19 expenditure. I mean, it is something the presidency, the special prosecutor, and even the police CID need to take up seriously to look at how monies have been dispersed.
There are a lot of things to discuss out of the speech that the president gave. You would want to visit our website, citynewsroom.com, to have more insight of the conversation there. As well, the president made mention of the fact that now that we are having the IMF deal, some of the stalled projects will resume. So we hope that that will come to reality. You're still watching CNR Extra here on CCTV, still to come. Pupils at the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind cry for more teachers as educators in the sector appear to be in short supply. Kindly stay with us, we'll be back with more stories.
If you're a whiz kid that collects straight A's in your sleep, a brainy brains that aces quizzes without even trying, or a clever clogs that knows just about everything, then there's one more battle you have to win. The Literacy Challenge. The nationwide search for the best junior high student is on. Think it could be you going home with 10,000 Ghana cedis and a glitzy trophy? Then, in not less than 600 words, write a story that ends with the following statement. The happiest people do not have the best of everything, they make the best of everything they have. Stories should be written in your own handwriting with the deadline of Saturday, the 15th of July 2023 in mind. Submissions must include an endorsement by a parent or guardian and their full contact details. And once you're done, shoot off your entries to the front desk of City TV or City FM. Or you can send entries to PO Box GP 14123 Accra Central. For more inquiries, call 0558 973 973. The Literacy Challenge 2023 is powered by City TV, supported by City FM, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company.
Welcome back to CNR Extra. Let's take you to the Ashanti region now, where management of the Kumasi Technical Institute wants to install CCTV cameras on campus in a bid to improve security following growing misconduct among students there.
It's a City Newsroom on City TV. Now, parents are proposing strengthening security, including the installation of closed-circuit television, which is CCTV cameras, at the Kumasi Technical Institute to check what they say is the growing misconduct among some students. The call comes after authorities of the school on Friday sent over 500 students home for some behaviors that breach the school's rules. City News' Ashanti Regional Correspondent Hafiz Tijani has more.
A meeting on Sunday brought together parents of students of the Kumasi Technical Institute, and the behavior of some students in the school was high on the agenda. School authorities used the opportunity to brief parents on why over 500 students were asked to go home, awaiting a recall. Parents, before the meeting, were briefed and shown some facilities in the school which were said to have been damaged by a section of the students during a recent rampage. Principal of the Kumasi Technical Institute, Gabriel Kingsford Osei, says parents are backing the management's decision to instill discipline in the students.
The vice chairperson of the PTA stood on behalf of all parents to apologize for what has happened. Aside that, the comments that parents are giving indicates that, yeah, they've seen that it's a genuine cause because discipline is the hallmark. We cannot train them without discipline. And for that matter, we've all accepted their plea, and then we are now looking at how best we can recall these students and then taking the next action to see to the damages that have been caused by these students.
He indicated that authorities will not relent in their efforts to enforce laws regulating the institution.
The school has its code of conduct. All the discipline measures have been spelled out. It has been given to the students. Each student is having a copy. So what we will do is that we have to see to it that all those measures that have been taken into consideration in their handout, we will ensure that we go according to that. Looking at their freedom that they are talking of, yeah, we are human beings sometimes, but we cannot leave everybody to do whatever he or she likes. So for that, we will not accept that. But for what has happened, there are genuine concerns that we have to address going forward. But we've seen that there are so many flaws in some of the things that we do as an institution. So we are going to look at that and then move on.
The Parent Teacher Association chairman, Nana Yabua Mensah, bemoaned the inadequate security measures at the school and says measures must be put in place to check students' behavior.
We cannot identify everybody, but those who have been sent home are supposed to bear the cost. That is what I'm suggesting. Even though some of them might have not taken part, but because we asked you to come, the school was using that method to get some of these, to get some of the students. And those who fell into that trap, see, are supposed to bear the cost of the whole issue. I'm suggesting that we don't have enough security in the school here. Look at this large school. We have only the government has employed only 4 security men, and then the PTA have also employed 2. Because we only depend on our dues, so we have managed to employ 2 in addition. So 6 security men here. I'm suggesting that if the whole parents will agree with me, then we try to cite CCTV cameras. I think that will also help us, so that at the end of the day, when you are caught probably scaling the wall, then we may know that yes, this gentleman did it, and the person bears the cost of the damaged items.
The authorities are yet to decide when the over 500 students will be recalled to school. Authorities at the Kumasi Technical Institute say they will strengthen measures aimed at ensuring discipline among students. Hafiz Tijani, City News, Kumasi, Ashanti Region.
So that is a very serious issue on the campus of the Kumasi Technical Institute, asking that at least the chairman of the PTA, Nana Yabua Mensah, is asking that some CCTV cameras should be fixed. Again, my problem is if the CCTV cameras are fixed, maintenance, because he made in his submission, it was in there that the school is not financially stable now to be checking these things, looking at the destruction of the property and also getting the security officers in the school. The parents are bearing some of the cost. The management of the school is also bearing some of the cost. But I think that if there is supposed to be some disciplinary action, well, they must do something to deter others from engaging in such acts that is going to cause the school financial, or is going to cause some financial loss to the school.
I'm sorry, Philip, but I don't think installing CCTV cameras
will solve the problem,
is the answer. I mean, I think management of the school and the PTA should be focused on addressing what leads some of these students into some of this indisciplinary actions.
I remember very well the Ministry of Education made mention of getting Dean of Disciplinary Affairs in the various senior high schools. I don't know the updates for that particular development.
Philip, the problem is that if you look at the schools you have in this country, for some time I've had concerns really about how I feel like the moral ecology of students in our schools is on a decline. But also the real challenge has got to do with the increasing numbers of students in our schools. We are getting to a point where it is becoming almost impractical to control these large numbers. Too many of them. I mean, when I was in Accra Academy, for instance, the art classes was at 1 and 2. A week ago, I was in the school for some program, and I'm told there are 9 art classes in the school and about 7 science classes. See, the numbers are just becoming more and more. There are so many reasons you can allude to that, but I'm saying that it's about time we find and it's the same teachers.
When the numbers increase, it puts pressure on the management, bringing security under control.
Yes, exactly, because how many of these teachers are even on campus to supervise the students? And you realize that when there is that lack of supervision, then some of them tend to take the law into their own hands. So for me, I think a major way to tackle this problem is looking at investment into our schools again, in that, do we employ more teachers? We should find a way to figure it out, because if you are installing CCTV cameras, I think it's okay. It's not out of
And even after installation, how well do you protect it?
Exactly.
That these students wouldn't go and destroy it.
What is the purpose of the CCTV camera? To just find out those who are doing it. Why not channel energy into making sure that students are... I mean, I get that there will always be those kind of students in the school anyway, but I feel like it's more... there's more purpose if we are trying to figure out a way to stop students from engaging in that. And that will begin with proper investment into our schools and making sure that we provide some level of resources for both
this calls
teaching
for stakeholder engagement. Now, the management of the school has engaged the PTA. You may want to go a step higher and engage the education service in that particular district, and also, if moving forward, to the education ministry or some disciplinarians to see how best they can get this. Short supply. Let's bring to that inset.
Let's remain with the education sector, and pupils at the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind in Ho say their condition is making access to education a challenge for them. The pupils say the school, which is under the Evangelical Presbyterian Schools, needs more special educators to help in their education. They're calling on authorities to give priority to inclusive schools. Also, a remarkable progress has been made in mainstream schools. There's more in this report by City News' Desmond Selasiago.
Established in 2018 to support and equip the visually impaired students to acquire requisite and compensatory skills that will enable them participate through the mainstream school system, the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind has seen several students enrolled and graduated into the mainstream academic settings. Currently, the center has 25 visually impaired pupils who are undergoing several skill development in order to join their colleagues at the EP Basic School in Hokoji. In Ghana, children who are visually impaired or persons living with disability are often denied the right to education, as some schools do not accept these children. But speaking during the 5th anniversary of the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind, head prefect of the school, Mary Dare, says their story is changing. According to her, they are making good progress in terms of their academic pursuits despite their impairments. She, however, noted that they still face some challenges at the center.
We are appealing to our education directorates to consider posting another special educator to augment the effort of the current personnel at the JHS level.
board chair of the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind, Reverend Nyeme Adiepena of the EP Church Ghana, noted that parents of the pupils, especially mothers, are equally receiving some training from the center, as they have also been neglected and stigmatized by their husbands and families.
Since the establishment of this center, these mothers have also seen hope for their future. When called for PTA meetings, they were surprised that society recognized them. Already being psychologically cut off from appreciating and relating closely to the physical beauty and happening of life all around us, we have further ostracized them to their faith by limiting the ease and frequency by which they will communicate and express emotion and challenges to their loved ones.
In an interview, Director of the school bemoaned the center's lack of visually impaired friendly textbooks.
Right to education, and these children have special needs and must be provided special care. That is basically what you're asking for, that if we have enough educators within our space, certainly we'll be able to learn well. And that is what the students and the management of the school are asking.
I think I agree with you. I mean, I want to commend the New Horizon Foundation for this remarkable job they are doing, and of course plead with certain well-to-do organization companies to go to their aid. I mean, some white sticks here, some anything they need to aid teaching and learning, I'm sure would be of great help. So I want to commend them, and I hope that government, who is a major stakeholder in this, would also pay heed to their concerns.
Rightly so. So if you are out there and you want to assist that institution, why not? You may want to go in there and assist them. And also, they're asking that more teachers or educators should enter into their institution and help them. As well, you're still watching City TV. See now here on City TV. My name is Philip Nlat. I'm here with Judy Mensah Duncan, still to come. Inmates at Kuko Witches Camp get borehole after City News' report on their age-old struggles to access water. Kindly stay with us. We're back with that story.
If you're a whiz kid that collects straight A's in your sleep, a brainy brains that aces quizzes without even trying, or a clever clogs that knows just about everything, then there's one more battle you have to win. The Literacy Challenge. The nationwide search for the best junior high student is on. Think it could be you going home with 10,000 Ghana cedis and a glitzy trophy? Then, in not less than 600 words, write a story that ends with the following statement. The happiest people do not have the best of everything, they make the best of everything they have. Stories should be written in your own handwriting with the deadline of Saturday, the 15th of July 2023 in mind. Submissions must include an endorsement by a parent or guardian and their full contact details. And once you're done, shoot off your entries to the front desk of City TV or City FM. Or you can send entries to PO Box GP 14123 Accra Central. For more inquiries, call 0558 973 973. The Literacy Challenge 2023 is powered by City TV, supported by City FM, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company.
Welcome back to CNR Extra on City TV. Let's bring you some more story. And the inmates at the Kuko Witches Camp get borehole after City News' report on the age-old struggles of these inmates to get access to water. Let's bring you that insight.
And following several reports by City News on the challenges of alleged witches in Kukuo in the Nanumba South District of the Northern Region to access water, a non-governmental organization has come to the aid of the community. The NGO laid pipes down the mountain all the way to the river to solve the problem old women usually go through on a daily basis, descending and climbing the mountain to get water. Our Northern Regional correspondent Mohammed M. Alabira was at the Kukuo community when the NGO went to commission the water project and has this report.
It was an exciting moment at Kukuo, the alleged witches camp in the Nanumba South District in the Northern Region, during the commissioning of the water project. Until now, women in Kukuo, mostly the elderly, have to descend a mountain and walk long distances before accessing potable water for domestic use. City News on a number of occasions, almost every year, had reported on the challenges women in this community face. Following the report, a non-governmental organization, Savannah Wash, has come to the aid of the community by laying pipes all the way to the river to connect the community. Brownwood, a leader of the group, speaking to the media, says they were touched by the plight of the women in the community, traveling over 5 kilometers down the mountain to fetch water, hence the intervention.
In Ghana, the people that have received tanks, boreholes, are taking care of them. They much appreciate it. And yet to be seen here, we haven't seen water come out of the tank yet here today. I'm sure we will. It's full, and the reception that we received here, the hospitality we received is just awesome. We're very elated, and I can tell the people here are much excited by getting clean water here in the village.
The project manager for Savannah Wash, Mr. Johnson Mensah, says the intervention is to elevate the plight of the women of Kukuo.
From the day the contractor moved to site, I've been here with them, so we did a test pump and finally completion. It's been an exciting journey, and then the welcome today shows that the people are excited. And it's just not about this place. As earlier stated, we're also thinking about how to extend the water to the other parts of town. You know, there are empty tanks in town, which we think if we are allowed, we can use them so that the entire village will benefit from, instead of walking out to this side. So it's another consideration we can take up.
He advised the community to form a panel to manage the project. The contractor of the project recounts the challenges they went through and has admonished the community to take proper care of the facility.
The community is about 6 kilometers from the river, and several efforts to get the community good drinking water has been futile. So the decision was taken by management to rather extend the river to the community instead of wasting resources on the boreholes. And that decision was welcomed by sponsors, especially Mr. Brian and his team. We are grateful to them.
So how challenging was it?
Very challenging, extending electricity for about 6 kilometers, 38 pools with cables, very expensive and very challenging. There is escarpment which is about 150 height against sea levels, very high, very difficult to descend and very difficult to climb. That is the aspect I'll never forget.
The district chief executive for Nanumba South, Zakaria Yusuf, expressed his gratitude to the organization for the support. He also praised City News for continuously reporting on the challenges that has resulted in the provision of the water for the community.
Coming to witness the mission and handing over water projects undertaken by Savannah NGO. Yes, that has come to the aid of the people of Kukuo to supply them with water from the river. I think it has not come on a silver platter. A lot of efforts have gone into it. Assembly, for instance, has made several efforts. We have sunk a lot of boreholes in Kukuo that all ended up in vain. And if we have an opportunity like this, when the NGO steps in, provides sustainable water, people, I think we have to support them.
The assemblyman for Kuku community, Issa Aziz, could not hide his joy and was full of thanks to the NGO for the project. He outlined the project is going to benefit the community.
We take all our possible best in fact to make this project to be an everlasting one. Because when you see the beginning of these things, the time that we are, in fact, we have nothing to say that we thank Almighty God for this blessed gift. Because this project is a big project. It's not an easy task or an easy job. So we make all possible means to keep this working.
He also thanked City News for continuously reporting on the plight of the community, saying it has resulted in the intervention. Nurses at the Kuko Chiefs compound expressed delight that the community now has water. The officer in charge at the Kuko Chiefs compound tells City News some of the challenges they usually go through because of the lack of water. He prayed the water could be extended to the facility.
The water crisis in Kuku here is here because in nursing we can't do without water. That is why we use when we deliver, we use to sterilize our instruments and to distribute to our pregnant women for the SP intake. And then Kuku here we can't get water. The only problem we have, or the only assistance that we are having is from our pregnant women when they are coming. We do ask them to give us some water. But we, the staff, we get water to bath, we have to descend to the hill, which is not good. And so with our motorbike, a weak motorbike, we have a very serious issue with it. So currently, an NGO has been provided with water.
And that's good news there, of course. The residents of Kuku are excited of the benevolence or the good gesture of the NGOs bringing in the water, because portable drinking water is very important everywhere.
Yeah.
You need to
in nation building, in sustaining communities. Here you go. And those who, for some reason, are always criticizing the media, I think this is an example of a proper media house you should be spending time listening to. I mean, I don't want to commend our reporter for the
Mohammed M. Alabira.
Solid report in the first place, highlighting the challenges of the community members in Kuku, and subsequently the NGO for stepping in. I think media gets results. Proper media gets results.
Right, so when CCTV has gotten results for this. So this is how we end today's edition of CNR Extra here on CCTV. My name is Philip Ni Lati. I did this with Judy Mensah Duncan. Many thanks for your time and keep watching CCTV.
This is DW News Africa. Coming up on the program, the people forced to leave their homes. In Sudan, for example, ongoing fighting has people fleeing. We speak to some of them who have ended up in refugee camps in neighboring Chad. And Tanzania's indigenous Maasai people say they were evicted from their ancestral land by government. We'll hear their story and ask government to justify its actions. Plus, Africa to the world. For the first time, the Venice Architecture Biennale shines the light on Africa as a driving force in shaping the planet. I am Eddie Micah Jr., and you are welcome to the program. The ongoing fighting in Sudan and the repeated breaking of ceasefires is